Shyness is common, widespread, and universal. Many of us have been shy at some point in our lives. Unfortunately, some people grow into adulthood without ever learning how to deal with shyness. Shyness makes it difficult to meet new people, make friends, or enjoy potentially good experiences. It prevents you from speaking up for your rights and expressing your own opinions and values. Shyness limits positive evaluations by others of your personal strength. It encourages self-consciousness and an excessive preoccupation with your own reactions. Shyness makes it hard to think clearly and communicate effectively. Negative feelings like depression, anxiety, and loneliness typically accompany shyness. To be shy is to be afraid of people, especially people who, for some reason, are emotionally threatening. Strangers, because of their novelty or uncertainty. Authorities, who wield power. Members of the opposite sex, who represent potential intimate encounters. Have you ever arrived at a party in full swing and discovered that the only person you know is the hostess, and she is not in sight? Someone comes up to you and asks, "Who are you?" and only invisible butterflies come out of your mouth. Or have you ever been in a group where the leader says, "Let's get to know one another better by telling our names and something personal about ourselves," and immediately you are into full dress rehearsal in your head? Many of the shy people long for the small talk, idle chatter, laughter, and friendship that seem to be going on with other people. Indeed, quiet anger is a frequent reaction to being left out of the fun, even when the shy person has turned down the invitation to join in. The shy may often become bolder if the other person indicates warmth and a readiness to relate beyond a superficial smile and a shallow greeting. But the other person has to send up obvious smoke signals for the passively shy person to get the message and begin to act on it, cautiously, of course. Painfully shy arrange much of their lives around avoiding situations where they might be put on the spot. They are inhibited from acting because of inner commands. You will look ridiculous. People will laugh at you. This is not the place to do that. I won't allow you the liberty to be spontaneous. Do not raise your hand, volunteer, dance, sing, or make yourself obvious. You will be safe only if you are not seen and not heard. And the prisoner within decides not to risk the dangerous freedom of a spontaneous life and meekly complies. Airplane phobics can take trains. Snake phobics can live in cities. And those afraid of the dark can sleep with the lights on. But what about people who are afraid of other people? In successfully avoiding the object of their fear, shy people condemn themselves to become strangers in a strange land, and they suffer for it. Ultimately, shy people isolate themselves from the warmth of human contact that is essential to all of us. They often fail to convert acquaintances into friends, or friends into lovers. They vividly imagine all the possible horrors of a relationship and become obsessed with the rewards versus the costs of dealing with anyone. Many live by the gold-plated rule: give nothing to others, as you would have them give nothing to you. No commitment, no sharing, no obligation, no responsibility, no favors to be returned or expected. But no man or woman can exist happily with the terrible knowledge that they are not needed by some other person. Over a lifetime, the actual pain of feeling insignificant, irrelevant, and invisible is far greater than the imagined pain of an occasional rejection. Shy people often resolve the dilemma of developing new relationships by doing nothing. They choose the security of isolation over the risk of being rejected. They almost always choose to be alone rather than risk rejection for their own imagined inadequacy. But in protecting themselves, they lose important feedback from others, who might be sharing the very same feelings. We must all take this risk to establish the important relationships in our lives. Many people start to drink because of feelings of social inadequacy. What they seek in alcohol is liberation from themselves. What they want is for the eternal censor to go to sleep for a few hours. Drinking turns off the ever-present monitor. Over-drinking turns it too far off into social irresponsibility. The fear that originally helped motivate the need to drink finally becomes a reality, as the drunk is cast out of society for being different, inadequate, and inferior. Shyness, or feeling inadequate, is not a trait that you have to live with. You can change without using a crutch like alcohol. All of us want to live a more fulfilling, rich life. But to accomplish this, we must be willing to risk freedom, to break out of our own prisons, to gamble on a new friendship, to take the chance on a love affair. It's not always easy, but there are ways that each of us can build our own self-confidence. There are definite social skills that we can learn. You must be willing to commit time and energy, and to risk some short-term failures. You must be patient and expect some setbacks, some anxiety, and a lot more of you to be in the spotlight. We can learn much from our failures if we are prepared to accept them as inevitable. Over time, we find something positive even in our misery and our handicaps. Those secondary gains of misfortune often have immediate benefits we are unwilling to give up for the cure. Think about the subtle things you have gained from pasting that shyness label on yourself. What do you get out of your shyness? We don't usually acknowledge these secondary gains of our primary disabilities. For example, excuses, playing it safe and not taking unnecessary risks, avoiding criticism, keeping aggressive people away, not becoming emotional or too involved in other people's lives, etc. It is easier to remain shy than to change. For some of the shy people, their desire to no longer be shy is tempered by the knowledge that they will have to take more risks in initiating action. Also, shyness may be a convenient umbrella, preventing exposure to even worse feelings. Being unwanted, uninteresting, unintelligent. If you no longer want to be a shy person, you must decide what kind of a person you do want to be, and then invest a great deal of time and energy in realizing your goal. Start with getting to know what you are like. As you begin the process of self-discovery, ask yourself these questions. What image do you project? Is that image under your control? That is, do others perceive you the way you want them to? Do you tend to feel responsible for the failures of your life? And when something good happens to you, is it more a matter of fate, luck, or your own efforts? Is there anything you would be willing to sacrifice your life for? At the core of shyness is an excessive preoccupation with the self, an over-concern with being negatively evaluated. Shyness and low self-esteem go together. When shyness is high, self-esteem is low, and when esteem is high, shyness moves out of the picture. People with high self-esteem do not crumble under criticism. or feel devastated by rejection. They thank you for the constructive advice. When confronted with a no, they never take it as a rejection of them. Instead, they consider other alternatives. Their act needs more work. The approach was too fast, too gross, too subtle, too complicated. The situation and timing were not right. The person who said no has a problem that needs counsel or sympathy. In any event, the cause of the no lies not within them, but without. They can analyze it and make plans to regroup forces and return again with a more polished act. It's easy for them to be optimists. They get what they want more often than not. Shy people are overly sensitive to negative criticism, thinking it confirms their inadequacy. They have difficulty accepting compliments. A person with high self-esteem isn't frustrated at not having achieved their goal. He can enjoy himself now, since his satisfaction is not tied to future-oriented goals. She is the model of a person for whom the process is the product. You must come to recognize the extent to which you are living out other people's scripts. You cannot have a well-developed sense of self if you are acting out programs written by others. To be an autonomous person with a sense of integrity, you will have to become aware of your script. Then rewrite the scripts that govern your life. Practice being a social animal. Enjoy feeling the energy that other people transmit, the unique qualities and range of variability of our brothers and sisters. Imagine what their fears and insecurities might be, and how you could help them. Decide what you need from them, and what you have to give. Then let them know that you are ready and open to sharing. Stop being so overprotective about your ego. It is tougher and more resilient than you imagine. It bruises but never breaks. Better it should get hurt occasionally from an emotional commitment that didn't work out as planned, than get numbed from the emotional insulation of playing it too cool. You are not an object to which bad things just happen. A passive nonentity, hopping like a garden slug to avoid being stepped on. You are the culmination of millions of years of evolution of our species, of your parents' dreams, of God's image. You can make things happen. You can change the direction of your entire life anytime you choose to do so. With confidence in yourself, obstacles turn into challenges, and challenges into accomplishments. Shyness then recedes, because instead of always preparing for and worrying about how you will live your life, you forget yourself as you become absorbed in the living of it. Many times we are shy in only one or two situations, yet we think and speak of ourselves as shy people. Instead of thinking and saying, "I am a shy person," start thinking and talking about yourself in more specific terms. Describe specific situations and specific reactions. For example, say, "I get nervous when I have to talk to groups," or "Parties make me feel out of place and cause me to feel weak inside." "I feel anxious around the managers in our company." "My heart starts to pound and I get butterflies in my stomach when I know a girl is checking me out." Make as complete a list as you can of these situation-specific reactions. Then plan what you have to do to control and change that reaction. For example, if your hands shake when talking to someone, then clasp hands, rest them on leg, or put them in pockets. Many of us, for whatever reasons, never learned the basic ingredients of social life. We don't know how to meet people. We can't talk up in a group. We get nervous about parties. To be an assertive person is not to be a selfish, pushy bully, nor an insensitive clod who insists on getting their way. Assertive people get a fair share of what life has to offer by communicating their needs, relating to the needs of others, and choosing a lifestyle that is in harmony with their values. Inaction is the most characteristic feature of shyness. To act or not to act is the question to be resolved for the shy person. The energy to act isn't always there, however, because anxiety, boredom, and passivity generate more fatigue than does the heaviest of labors. You need to get moving. You will discover untapped sources of energy when you are doing what you want to do and reaping rewards for your actions. A nod of recognition, a smile, a wave of the hand, a look in the eye. You will have to put some energy behind it and some skill into it. Hello, hi there, how is it going? Good to see you around. Where have you been? I liked what you said. Have a good weekend. You can start the conversation with the common experience you are sharing at the time. For example, this line is so long. It must be a good movie. I had a horrible time parking around here. Do you know a good place? Is that a good book? I have never read it. That's a nice sweater. Where did you get it? To get into good conversations, you need to have something to say. The easiest way to do that is to keep yourself informed. Read the newspapers and news magazines. Know what the political situation is in your state. Read movie and book reviews. Delve into a couple of political, cultural, or whatever topics, and become knowledgeable about them. Come up with interesting or exciting things that have happened to you recently. Turn them into brief, interesting stories. Jot down jokes if you feel comfortable telling them. If you have trouble remembering the punchlines, jokes aren't your best bet. When you meet people, be ready with several stories to tell or interesting comments to make. Practice ahead of time with friends or an empty chair. How do you start a conversation? First of all, choose someone who looks approachable, a person who is smiling at you, or sitting alone, or wandering around. Don't choose someone who is obviously busy doing something else. There are a number of ways to start a conversation. Choose the one that is most appropriate to your situation and most comfortable for you. Introduce yourself. Hello, my name is. You can exchange information on where you live, what you do, your families. Give compliments. Then follow up with a question. This is a great drink. How do you make it? Request help. Make it obvious you need it and think other person can provide it. I can't find this law case. Can you help me? Can you show me that dance step? I don't know anything about commodities. Can you explain them to me? Try self-disclosure. You will find that when you make an obviously personal statement, it will elicit a positive, sympathetic response. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'm really quite shy. I would love to learn to sail, but I don't know if I can make it. I just got a divorce and feel a little shaky. Use the normal social graces. Looks like you need a refill. Can I get you one? I am headed that way. Here, let me help you pick up those groceries. Once you have started a conversation, you can use several techniques to keep it going. Ask a question about current sports game or political event. Offer one of your personal stories or opinions. Get the other person talking about themselves. Where did you grow up? Do you like your line of work? Express interest in the other person's expertise. How does a book get published? How do you start a daycare center? Most important, share your reactions to what is taking place at that moment while you are interacting. Relate your thoughts and feelings about what the other person has said or done. Become an active listener by paying attention to what people are saying around you. You can pick up a lot of information and clues to personality by listening carefully to conversations or discussion. Pay attention to what is being said and give clear indications that you are doing so. Use verbal cues. Yes, I see. Uh-huh. That is interesting. Incredible. Really. And also nonverbal cues. Lean forward. Sit up. Stand closer. Nod appropriately, etc. Active listening also involves identifying with the other person's situation when possible, or, if not, recasting what you are hearing into a similar experience that you can relate to. I have never been in the military, but I can relate to having to take petty orders that are meaningless. When you are in a conversation, don't hesitate to ask for clarification if you don't understand something. Is this what you are saying? I don't understand that. Can you explain it? Don't be afraid to admit that you don't know something. People often enjoy explaining things to others. When you are finished saying all you have to, or your time is up, you must signify that you are about to take leave. 3 messages must get across. You will be leaving soon. You have gotten pleasure or benefited in some way from the present talk, and you hope there will be more contact in the future. There are a number of ways you can do this. Reinforcement. Short words of agreement to the last thing the partner said. Sure, okay, right, etc. Appreciation. The statement of pleasure derived from the interaction. I really enjoyed talking to you. Completion sentence. That's about the sum of it. Breaking eye contact, moving legs or feet toward the exit, leaning forward, smiling, nodding, and a handshake are some nonverbal behaviors used to say you are shipping off. Watch the ways in which your friends, acquaintances, and people you interact with end their conversations. Write down all you recall saying or doing in the last minute. This book can be helpful for those who want to understand what shyness is all about. Although it is a bit outdated, it is still relevant to the current social norms and will be useful for people who suffer from extreme shyness. It will definitely help you understand better the phenomenon of shyness. I give this book 8 points out of 10.